Hello, it's Juliana here, and I just want to talk about how there are parts of customizing and rebodying culture I am really not a fan of. So I'm sure, as I mentioned before, I can't really tolerate it whenever people customize the Sworn Twins dolls or use them as base dolls, because first of all, these dolls I don't think they have any more active listings on Amazon, meaning they're older, there isn't as many of them being made all that much anymore. And yeah, the reason I like to collect multiple Storm Twins dolls, but I don't really customize them or sell them or any of that, is because I respect the characters, I love their original design, and I want to preserve that. And it just kind of hurts my heart a little when I see other content creators and customizers just taking their base dolls and stripping of them of their original identities, wiping their makeup off, cutting their hair, the basic customization stuff. This is stuff that I don't know, maybe it's because to me the Thorns are my personal comfort dolls. They tend to anthropomorphize them just a little bit more than the average person. But I don't have the heart to do anything remotely terrible or in customization territory to my girls. And I've also been told before that I've had people recommend that I swap my main Veronica, which I do have a seventh Veronica that was originally very much used, but I washed her up, made her look all pretty. But there's so much I could do to customize this doll. I could get rid of her bangs. I could give her a full on Nobara haircut or something. But I just don't have the heart to do that. And as she's a duplicate, I could also, if I wanted to, put her eyes into Veronica Main's head. But that's the thing. I don't have the heart to do it. Because to me, Veronica Main, she's my doll daughter, she's my little princess. She's like my best friend at times. And to me, at night, when I'm having trouble sleeping, I look in her eyes. Those are her eyes. That's my Veronica. That's my little princess. And her and Naomi Main are first batch release. So unless I really trusted somebody enough to restore them to how they originally looked in the box, I am not doing anything to these dolls. I am not. I would never eye swap her. And I won't even attempt to fix anything with them until I trust myself. Yeah, it's weird though, because when it comes to other dolls, it doesn't bother me as much. But yeah, I guess maybe I'm just biased because I'm a Storm Twins fan and they're my girls and they're really special to me. But I guess I want to talk about how much that disgusts me. Because considering that the Storm Twins are technically more so expensive and difficult to find dolls in the Rebel High line, and there are people who use them to make custom dolls and stuff like that. There's also other Rainbow High dolls that people do that exact same thing with. Like dolls like Delilah Fields. Or other really rare Rainbow High dolls that most Rainbow High collectors have to search for really good deals for, or would never dream of customizing or modifying. But then you have these customizers who will take even the most expensive Rainbow High dolls and just do repaints on them. I don't know. And I'm not trying to say that I dislike people customizing their dolls. That is not what I am saying. I just feel like for me, it's a lot more feasible and a lot easier to accept when the base doll is a doll that is more commonly found in a line, or is a little cheaper and stuff like that. And to continue on with this, I feel like rebodying culture is also really affecting the prices of a lot of like older Rainbow High dolls for people just trying to complete their collections, who just want to find good dolls without like worrying about like them having been used or like altered by somebody else. Because like I know Rainbow High dolls and Shadow High dolls are easier to find online than something like Monster High or Ever After High, and they're cheaper than that, but it's like, why would I want to buy a Rainbow High doll that I don't need a duplicate of just to give a Rainbow High rebrand doll like full articulation? And this is the problem with the rebrand in general. So like the general usual articulation on the rebrand, if they don't have like some weird gimmick legs, it's a bit more restricted, as you can tell with Genevieve here. Which I watched her hair and it's so pretty, by the way. Like, look at this. There's no poly here and it's so beautiful. And of course I did pull her front section to the side just to kind of have her bangs not getting in her face too much. But yeah, she has a nice little hairstyle going and she's really pretty. But anyways, the like cycle with the Rainbow High rebrand dolls and rebodying culture kind of starts with someone getting a rebrand doll and then just being disappointed that they don't have the full articulation. Or like really liking the face on a rebrand doll, but wishing they had more articulation. Which if you're like a customizer or like someone who thrifts a lot of Rainbow High dolls and has excessive duplicates and stuff, this isn't necessarily a problem. Finding a body donor isn't as annoying. But when you're on a limited budget and you don't collect excessive duplicates of every single character, you think, oh no, I need to find this older Rainbow High doll that like I have to get online for like the price of like a new doll just to give this other doll their body. And it's just it's really annoying and frustrating once like the cost of it all starts piling up. And then you end up with all sorts of like doll heads and like budget bodies that you don't know what to do with. And yeah, it creates kind of a very different problem. And there's that. And of course that if you have like a limited budget and stuff, finding duplicates of dolls that match the like rebrand doll skin tone can be a bit of like a challenge. So normally most people tend to go as cheap as possible with this at times. But like that's kind of my method with how I chose to rebody my Misty. So the moment I saw this doll's promo pictures, I knew I liked her. I knew I loved her face and her outfit, and that she's like definitely like one of the best rebrand dolls. And I just happened to own a duplicate Crystal Bailey that I thrifted a long while back. So yeah, I gave her that Crystal's body. But if I didn't have like a duplicate to give their body to her, I wouldn't have done the head swap. I don't know. It wouldn't have felt right if I didn't. It didn't happen to have if I didn't have to have a duplicate. And also, like something else I want to talk about with rebodying culture is with like some of the budget dolls. Some of those have great faces too. So you have people taking the original, more expensive versions of those characters and then giving the putting the budget doll heads on their bodies, and if you and if anyone remembers how Mainly Lux got a budget doll version of herself with really pretty rainbow makeup and all that, something interesting happened around that time. Like like whenever she whenever that like budget doll came out and people were rebodying it, the prices of the original version of Maylene skyrocketed. Like as a result of rebodying culture, the original became more difficult to find, like intact and in good condition, because people were buying them all just to give their bodies to the rebrand versions, which honestly for me, once I start making, if I ever make a bit more money and am able to get more RAM high once and expand my collection, I will mainly be focusing on rebodying the Rainbow High characters that are more exclusive to the rebrand, that don't have a counterpart in the original line with like really good articulation and all that. And also the like Shadow High budget dolls, of course, because some of those have such good faces, especially the Sleepover line. But yeah, I do have a lot of thoughts and a lot of things I hold back on when it comes to customizing my or my dolls, because I know how valuable these dolls are. I know, especially the older ones and the older lines, like, I like to preserve the history of those because they're precious and beautiful and really do deserve more respect. And there's another line that I don't even dream or think to modify, and that is Monster High and Ever After High, especially the like Generation 1 versions. If you've been on doll YouTube, you've probably seen the videos of people taking really old, like discontinued Monster High Generation 1 dolls and just completely wiping their faces and making all these new custom characters with the base dolls. And I admit, I first got into Monster High whenever I was in high school, so I never really full on played with them and all that. But like I would never think to customize, modify, or even cut their hair or anything like that. Like Monster High is a line that has stood the test of time, especially culturally, and Nephra was like this, and Booyark Nephra was my first Monster High doll ever. I did use gold Sharpie on her earrings, but other than that, she's completely unaltered. Like, and a lot of times Monster High dolls are so beautiful and they're so specifically themed that it's difficult to even restyle them. And yeah, I'm sure if you noticed, I don't restyle my Monster High dolls much. Because it's like, I don't see the point in it at all. Like, Monster High, whatever generation you're talking about, is one of those doll lines that is beautiful and amazing and perfect, just the way it is. Like, it doesn't have any problems. There's nothing to fix. There is nothing to restyle. I admit, I do. And I have a doll collecting friend. She's the one who got me my Gulaxgolia. I mean, this friend have had so many conversations about just how wrong it feels and how that people customize Monster High Generation 1 dolls and just how expensive they are on the secondary market and how much of a challenge it is to find them in good condition in the first place. And this applies to Ever After High as well, which is why Crystal Winter is here. Just ignore her glue seepage. I need to deal with that at some point, but yeah. If you look at Monster High and its history, customizers and customizing culture has really left its mark, especially with their availability and the condition you'll find them in. And I remember whenever Monster High Generation 1 was out, that was when the whole like repainting culture kind of took off outside of just lines like Barbie, and now I feel like it's just infested every single part of doll collecting spaces to the point where you really can't escape it. And I'm not saying that every repainter or customizer is necessarily bad per se. If they happen to have a really well-loved or well-used duplicate and they're using that as a base doll, then it's fine. But the ones I'm talking about are the ones who like use perfectly like new or in really good condition copies of older dolls that are discontinued and just use those for repaints and customs. And just how wrong it feels, just the fact that this is normalized, that people are okay with this, that people don't really see the value in collecting these dolls as much as making their own custom art projects with them. It's like, yeah. I know this video will be a little bit more controversial. I know some people are going to disagree with me, but I really had to say it. I really had to talk about this. And personally, I really want doll collecting to be fun and accessible. And over time, I definitely realized that I am not the type to want to really have the heart to fully customize a lot of their dolls, and that's okay. It's something that isn't really for me. It's something that I don't feel most comfortable with, and I acknowledge that. And that I'm more happy with collecting them and doing more minor restyles when I need to, but yeah. I guess I just want to talk about that. So I hope you have a good day or good night whenever you're watching this. And if you have any concerns about like customizing culture or rebodying culture and how it affects doll prices, as far as collecting goes, please let me know in the comments because I really do want to hear more people's opinions on this and more people talking about this. So yeah, I hope you have a good day or good night whenever you're watching this. And don't forget to like and subscribe if you want to see more doll content.